First I'm a Cartoon Network kid, then I'm a Discovery Channel kid, then I'm an internet kid. I now know 11,000 digits of pi.
What is wrong with you? I mean, this game will be titled now Venture Adventure, okay?
Okay. You can't really think because your body thinks it's dying. Freediving is flying, is the closest thing you can get to flying. You almost died while hang gliding.
So much about flying.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, this crosswind was so strong, and then I saw the power lines and the forest, and you know, he passed the ridge, but hit the top of the spruce, broke his legs, and he called a friend. But when the friend came, he was already dead.
We encountered a megapod of dolphins. Just thinking, what just happened? We were really touched. Sharks are on the bottom, and they also come and they grab the fish, and also whales come. It's huge action.
Is this a dangerous thing to do?
Depends who you ask.
Actually, this piece, one of those, became a projectile. The saw jammed through it in my chest, and I injured myself badly.
Give me a 6-digit number. That would be Magnifico, a singer playing a medieval lute with a baseball bat. This is that's weird, but
Nik, welcome.
yeah.
Welcome here on this beautiful day.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. So as you know, we will start with 10 questions, rapid fire questions.
I don't know what the questions are, but I'm ready.
That's the point. That's the point. So let's go. What's your favorite place?
Seaside or anything related to water.
What place makes you uncomfortable?
Oof, I don't know. Traffic jams.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Boredom.
Okay, that's a nice one.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I have the biggest flow of ideas when I have nothing to do and a big period of empty time.
That's the first time I hear this one. So
okay.
Maybe we will return to this. What turns you off?
Well, big expectations towards oneself, probably mostly. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you love?
Birds, water, and also good music. But yeah, let's stick with birds for now.
What sound or noise do you hate? What puts you off?
Well, I know what the answer is here. I hate loudness. Anything loud is a pain in the ass for me.
What superpower would you like to have?
Flying since forever. I mean, I've always dreamt of flying, but I think that encompasses almost every ambition I had was somehow connected to flying. So yeah.
What do you fear losing the most?
Well, the ability to influence my life and my body, the environment around me. So actually losing my mind or my consciousness.
What is beauty to you?
Anything that is in touch with itself. Maybe that's the broadest definition I can think of.
So Nik, the last question, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
If it would exist, maybe, so let's see how this will turn out. Something like that. I don't like definite answers, or I like it when there are open pathways. So yeah, I would like the one that greets me to be like, okay, let's see what this turns out to be.
Nice. Okay, now you are through. These are the 10 questions.
Okay.
Actually, I had a bit of what I wanted to follow, how I wanted to follow from that questions, but Actually, the one answer of yours grabbed really attention. I never do this. I just let this 10 questions go. But boredom. Let's just jump into this.
Okay.
Why boredom? This was somehow unexpected. I never heard this one before.
Well, I am quite busy through the year, but then summers for me are very interesting periods of time because more or less I am off or don't really have much work to do. And in those periods, I have the biggest quantity of ideas. That doesn't mean they're all good, but it's interesting to note that they are different than they would usually be, in different directions, in new directions, because I have more space and time to think, or think without expectations or without any kind of worries or fears that might surround my normal through the year self. So that's why I feel time off, or actually a break or a stop or a pause, is really beneficial for getting space. And in that space, I think creativity flows. I mean, the same thing happens when I'm also in the middle of something and finished something big, and then have one day, and then I start thinking, oh, maybe I could do this and this and this and this and this. It's also a problem because then it's hard to stick to something or really do something from start to the finish. But if I'm aware of that, I try to switch to both sides. I think creativity is on one end of the coin. It's the ability to think freely and associate onto whatever, and really think outside the box, think funny thoughts, weird thoughts, whatever. So being uninhibited. But on the other side of the coin, it's the ability to look at this mess and decide and reflect and grade and really be straightforward and to be able to guide oneself through a realization of that uninhibition. So it's both. It's unhinged and it's very, very controlled, disciplined at the same time.
That's nice that you explained a bit of this process because this is also how this happened. I work in the same way, actually. I like to have a broad spectrum of creative possibilities, and then and usually they also come in those empty spaces between the intense work. But my point was that when I was thinking of you, I, with each guest, kind of intuitively sense what the title will be, of the talk, or let's say this episode. And with you, I sense that the title will be Playfulness. Play, as you are also an actor, and playfulness because you are such a creative person. And actually, what I have prepared here, I will lay down some of your feats or adventures, let's say, because they are so broad and so interesting, and they'll for sure be for the listeners, whoever will listen to this. So what you actually did. A lot of things, but few of them were, you memorized over 3,000 digits of the number pi. You solved 10 Rubik's cubes underwater on a single breath. You dove under ice without a swimsuit. Tried to break a glass by shouting, and you succeeded. You created a theater show about memory. You hosted a quiz for kids and acted in TV series. You wrote a book about memory. You swam with dolphins and a shark. And you also drive a backwards bike, which is they sometimes call it reverse steering bike. But these are just some of the few of them. I mean, and then when I was putting this together, the thought came to my mind. I have to ask you, what is wrong with you? I mean,
well, recently I was talking with a acquaintance from high school that now is becoming more of a friend. I talk to her more often. She helped me with some projects and stuff. So she said she viewed me as an ambitious person in high school. I did not view myself as an ambitious person in high school. I just did whatever. I tried to do whatever felt interesting to me. So I just did things. I did a lot of things, a lot of little projects, theater plays, recitals, concerts. At some point we were convincing the school to let us have a gardening club and all sorts of stuff. So I just was doing things because I somehow believe it's my responsibility to be responsible for myself and also for my environment. And at that time I did not view myself as an ambitious person. Now I view myself more as an ambitious person because I started to think about actually my career, business and stuff like that. That I associate with ambition. But the desire to do things for me is actually more playful, or it's just because I can, or because I want to, or because it's interesting. And I know that from these little feats or projects, I get so much more than someone might see from the outside. I just keep doing them. And I don't really know what I will get from a certain thing, but it doesn't really matter. The pursuit matters more. Let's say the pi digits. I now know 11,000 digits of pi. I just failed. In this year's competition, I made a mistake before the 1,000th decimal. And people usually ask me, why would you spend so much time and energy to do that? Well, for me, it's the same. Today no one asks, or less people ask a marathon runner, why are you training so hard? Why are you running?
That's true, because it's common probably, isn't it?
Yeah.
To the notion of
but it's quite similar. It's just I'm not really running in physical space, but I'm doing stuff. And the benefits that the marathon runner gets are also beyond the results that the person sees from the outside, are beyond the time that he reaches, or beyond his physique that maybe is getting better, or his knees are getting worse, or whatever. But the same applies here. It's really interesting to observe oneself during these feats. And I have different, each of these little things then gives me a lot of valuable personal introspective ideas or issues or things that come up that I can then further use or develop or whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting. But would you say that this, you were the same as in, probably your childhood? You were the same, and now you're just adding the business stuff to it, but the playfulness is just the same.
I think it's similar, yeah. But it is connected to the fact that I think as children we had more alone time, so unguided time. I have a brother, and it was great. So we did we did a lot of stuff. We did so much stuff that would be considered dangerous today as well, but nothing, sometimes something bad would happen, but if something bad happens, it's not bad. If it's play, then you find a way, or if you get injured, well, you got injured. It was your problem. And it's really important for, I think, people to learn that. It's not too late. A lot of the times we get caught in this perspective, the youth, they should have more alone time, they should pursue more, let's say also dangerous acts of play. But the same goes for adults. As adults, we're now also more confined or more strict with certain rules, what is right, what is not appropriate or whatever. But when you play, it really doesn't matter. It's not, I'm talking about play now, not in the broad sense, because if I listen to myself, if I say what's wrong or what's wrong.
No, but I know what you mean, because I think in the same manner, I don't get still the shift that some people or most adults do or are thrown into it, or it happens, from childhood, and then you're some in the, let's say, teenage years, and then you become adult. I didn't get that, because I always saw the adults as a very strict, very serious human beings. And now that I'm adult, I still don't get it, why this happens, or, we can talk about that, why it happens, but it's so foreign to me, let's say. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not in that way. Probably you too. You didn't grow into seriousness.
Yeah, I think I am serious a lot of the time. I'm really boring or serious most of the time, maybe. But it doesn't exclude the fact that I can then enter into states of play.
Yeah.
And I believe one of the big factors that play here is the fact or the myth that we get kind of brought into, that someone has the answers and that you have to find that one thing. You have to do the right one thing, and then you're kind of stuck, or your position, you reach a certain position and then you are there and that's your end goal.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because then people think that even in the career perspective or career sense, that they are actually in the high school or in the studies, they are trying to come up with what they want to do, what is their end position, and then they achieve that, let's say in the best case scenario.
And then what? Yeah.
In fact, maybe they at some point grow out of that, or don't like that anymore, or realize, oh no, wait, this was not even my dream. This was the dream of my parent or my brother, or I don't know, whoever. And then they don't have the courage or actually even the insight to change or to pivot or do something else, in vertical or horizontal sense. So, and that for me is, again, the ability to just shift or change oneself all the time. I don't think we get to a place where we're at the end or at the finish line. That's really sad or boring or destructive, because then that finish line can become your problem. I'm not advocating for constant growth or self-improvement all the time. No, I don't care about that. But what I care about is listening to oneself and actually always asking oneself, what do I want? What is my future? What do I want my future to be?
Constantly, challenging, pushing this notion.
Because I had, let's say, this idea. I wanted to become an actor. I really wanted that. I still enjoy theater, film, television, etc. So I went to the academy. I got in. I finished the studies. I got employed at the Slovenian National Theater. And I realized at some point, wait, this I really don't feel good in this position, even though this was the dream of my, let's say, 20-year-old self. And then I had to admit or stick to the fact that, okay, now I have a different dream. I have a different idea of what I think I'm going towards. And that constantly changes. I think it changes for everyone. And I think it's good that we have the courage to listen to that. It doesn't mean you have to constantly change or do something new every year, but just be in touch with that.
One instance popped into my head. I was driving a while ago. Maybe this was also 20 years ago. Yeah, when I was studying. She was driving me home, and I asked her. She finished at that time her studies, and she actually started working for a few years. And then I asked her, do you like your job? Are you satisfied? And she said, no. And then I asked her, okay, but if you're not satisfied, will you change the position or the profession? Because she was not, acquired a bit, and she asked her, and she said, no, I don't like this type of work that I was studying for. And I asked her, okay, will you change? And how she answered, no, but I studied this. And I thought, oh, wow, this must be a prison to live, that you, at 20, you achieved the goal that you outlined, the process of becoming, and then you achieve it, and then what? Then you're stale. So, it kind of stuck in my head.
Yeah, people don't have that kind of confidence in themselves because, we don't really view it as something that one would do often. But in fact, I really believe that if you are proactive, and if you're in touch with yourself and are looking at what's happening around you, I think actually just the strict career path, it doesn't matter. Even if you finished architecture,
Yeah.
you can use that as very interesting background for, I don't know, for a tech job or for whatever, working in the public domain. It doesn't, I mean, probably it matters to a little bit, but then it's just a question of what are you willing to learn, how much time you're willing to invest into that change, or if it can be a smaller change. Or I also don't mind people that say, I'm not happy at the moment, but I want to stick with it. Or I'm not advocating for this constant pursuit of happiness. I also do a lot of work that is stressful, demanding, frustrating, but I want to do it. So it's not just bunnies and rainbows all the time.
It's a balance. I know what you mean, because I work in the same way. Actually, you know, I'm an architect. I now do this, and all of this, just they are not in the field, but they are somehow connected to architecture. But I see almost everything is connected to it. You know, how you communicate. You must know how to communicate the ideas. Otherwise, you know, you can just sit in a cave. And being able to work with, let's say, film or music or stuff, it's the principles are most of the times the same. You know, you are just building something out of stuff, either be it sound or visual pictures or video, or then with the materials. That's the reason probably why I wanted to go. So I had actually, on the first place, I had architecture. On the second, I also had architecture, but paid tuition. But on the third, it was not acting, but directing. So I do directing now, actually, you know. It's the same principle for me. You have to be probably in that way, you know, as a person, to be open to get these ideas or to flow into different aspects. Otherwise, you are the same as that girl that I drove with, you know, if you're stuck with the...
But I really believe that we learn by experience. And why I'm also a big fan of like useless feats. Let's say when I learned how to juggle when I was in my 9th grade, I got feedback on myself that, wow, obviously I can stick with something, and when it doesn't work, I can stick with it further, and then I master something that I thought was impossible before. But it's useless. Juggling on its own is useless. The same goes with anything I learn. And then I get more and more of this feedback, and then I have proof to actually say to myself, my fears, my doubts, look, I did this before with balls, with Rubik's cubes, with whatever. I'm going to do it now when I try to, let's say, develop a board game. It's the same thing, but for this new feat that is bigger, I need more of this feedback. That's how I view it. And I have a friend that also is really unsatisfied with her job, like completely unsatisfied. And that's causing her problems in related to stress, her well-being and stuff. And then when I asked her, so why don't you try and change something? She said, well, I have no other options. I am useless without my job, which is such a shame to think about, to think that way. But because I think people don't have the previous experience of doing other stuff, little things, she doesn't know. They're like, look, you are not your job, and you are not useless in any other thing. You could be perfect in another job, or the same field, another job, or on your own. Maybe you would have to sacrifice some of the finances. That's a sacrifice, but are you willing to do it? You have to trust yourself that it will turn out okay. For me, the biggest lesson related to this was COVID. We really thought in the arts that it's the end of the world. We thought, okay, now we are doomed. We cannot
you cannot work.
We have no job, or no possibilities of further projects and stuff. And it was really hard at the beginning, but then things started to open up, and I actually had maybe the most interesting period of different possibilities. I did a lot of things, and then I realized, okay, whoa, probably never, the world will probably never end in the career sense. Probably in the climate sense it will, but so I have to trust that and just keep on going, keep on building my interest, my craft, and that I can take with me wherever. It's not my diploma, it's not a paper, but it's what I have with me, my tools. And
it's interesting how these instances like COVID, they actually make a different perspective. And if you have thoughts, if you get creative thoughts, then you can use this as an opportunities to build something new. But you could also then get more enclosed and get stressed and so on. So these are different paths people go on. But it's nice that you share this, that we share this, that yes, maybe some other will also have a benefit of this or have an additional idea. One word caught my attention before you said it's a myth. So when I was looking through your stuff, actually it referenced a bit on a MythBusters, you know, and also a bit on the famous Mr. Beast, you know, the famous YouTuber. Your feats, let's say, or your adventures, you are making them in the same way, that they are engaging and they are. Maybe explain this process. Why do you pack these videos in such, or why do you make the videos? You know, this would be the question.
So I watched a lot of MythBusters. I'm a Discovery Channel. No, I'm a Cartoon Network kid. Then I'm a Discovery Channel kid. Then I'm an internet kid. I think those are the kids I am related to technology. And the internet has always been a huge sandbox for me. So I love. I come from a time where with my brother, if we wanted to play a computer game, we had to first steal it, then crack it, then or first maybe assemble the computer and then make it work, and then we would spend 3 days sweating and thinking, and then one day playing.
Wiring it together. I know.
So I love that, but when the internet came, that opened up the whole new world for me. There was also a time when I first started to read books related to memory, which were not actually available in my local library. Books like that. There were some books about memory, but not memory techniques. And then I started to, experiment, build my first website, which was shitty, but it doesn't matter. And then I had a blog, which was in high school. I really liked that. It was just an ability to create something and put it out there and see what happens. And then I just stuck with that actually through different social media. But YouTube for me was a playground of then, okay, let's say video creativity, but then also production, because I had to learn a lot about filming, editing, all the possible aspects. And that somehow really helps with my professional job. I can understand a TV set much better because I know what
you went through it.
Yes, I know what the camera guy is thinking when he's shooting a close-up and I'm doing this with my hands and he is cursing. And I can understand, I can relate, respond faster. But till today, YouTube for me is an experimentation ground. I try to tell interesting stories, and the only actor I have is myself, so I just do them with myself. And it's kind of like a little documentary. In the next year I'm gonna focus more on that, like short documentaries about experiments with oneself. It's a known format, but I really like it. And I tried to find interesting angles, because you can talk about ice diving, and you can talk about. I have a video. I have 2 different videos on ice diving. One is more the attempt to capture an experience, or just to think it's more or less without words, and a short movie. The other one is more like a little vlog documentary. But even in that one, I can talk about the feeling of going under the ice and the pressure or stress that brings, or the calmness. But I can also talk about physics. I can talk about the, I don't know what the English word is, but the water, the freezing point, why the fish are where they are, what's happening in that. And I like that. I like to open up different perspectives on something.
That's the reason why I first thought was as a reference the MythBusters, because it's your approach is a bit of entertainment, bit of a scientific input, a bit of a creative, and then also playful, and you wrap this into your own thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did you most like about MythBusters, let's say?
Well, I really think it was a very well done series. Also, now as an adult, I think the production costs were quite huge for some things. But I like the way they use actually entertainment to communicate science in a good way, or not just science for the explosion's sake. They create an explosion, but then they also spend some time on science. And then they can help audiences understand some basic principles better. But as a child, I think I liked the mix of both. I also watched Brainiac, but I don't remember that series a lot. I think it was more little feats, but less. If MythBusters would do the video with the glass, they would spend some time on resonance and stuff. I think if Brainiac did it would be faster. The science bit would be faster. It would be more the glass breaking. Yeah,
I can totally. It's as you were. It sounds as if you would read my mind now, because I also enjoyed this in the same way, MythBusters. And for me, what actually was enjoyable to watch is the science part, and then also the production. But I saw it also as a showcase of how you make things. Adam Savage now has the tested show of his own. And he makes stuff, and this is applicable to anything. You know, I
think this is the starting point of creativity. It's the confidence that from nothing something will appear or will be created. But this principle I share also with my family, with my grandmother, who was a skilled gardener. She has the same confidence. This is a seed. I will turn it into lunch at some point. Or no, first I have no seed. Maybe I have a bad soil, and then first I will turn the soil, then I will get seeds, and then I will create something. Or my father and my mother, who do a lot of things with their either mind or hands. It's working with wood, working with actually renovating an apartment. Let's say in our times was also more a community effort and self-effort. So my grandparents, they built the house. My parents actually did a lot of work on it, and that's also creativity in a sense. It's the confidence that something will happen. And I think the thing you pointed out with MythBusters is really accurate. It's we're gonna create something to maybe test something, and there'll be an obstacle. And when I listen to you, they're also smart in the TV sense that they were strong characters with a relationship, and then the people around them also had different. It's well done. I also thought about another series, Scrap Heap Challenge. I don't know if
they turned the
junkyard and they create machines. It's the same thing. It's we're gonna create something, and then in that case, I think they were fighting. The machines were fighting each other. Something.
It's. I remember now one of the Adam Savage's how to turn aluminium foil into ball. And that's the simple idea, but then you get all of these aspects, how you do it, and so you can. One, as a child, can learn so much if they pay attention to the process and not just the entertainment of it. Because it is entertaining for him and also for you and for the audience, but it's much more if you but you have to be open to see aspects, how he injured himself, also what to do, how to approach the tools and so on. And this, they made MythBusters, they made this they packed it very nicely. This was pre-internet stuff. Television, maybe also pre-television. Now another chapter is opening up, AI, and this is how I now sensed our conversation. And you know what? Something interesting came to me. I said I will use these times now, and as the title of this episode came into my mind, the playfulness. I will use these times with AI to create something maybe different. And I said, I will play a game with you, okay? Okay. So I used AI to list down the most interesting things about you and about me.
Okay.
And then I put them into here, into two bags. And I also had an intuition that this game will be titled now Venture Adventure, okay?
Okay.
So these are adventures of both you and me. So what this game will look like this. I will give you this one.
Okay.
So what we will do, we will each take one tip, let's say, or one adventure out of this bag, and then we will discuss it from a different angle. We will see how this plays out, but as you are the guest, you can start. Okay. Or no, maybe I will start, because these are the questions. So this bag is about me, and this is about your adventures. So I will, or should, I will do it.
Okay.
I will do it. I will just grab one and see what, what rings. A few of them I already mentioned in the interim, but it's okay. It's the one that with the Rubik cubes. But it's interesting because I will state it again, and then I will maybe see what's the question behind that. So you solved 10 Rubik's cubes underwater on a single breath. What was the drive and the end goal?
So I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube, I think I was about 27, 28 years old, because a character in a theater play I was doing, in one scene he had written in the instructions for the actor that the character solves the Rubik's Cube while talking. And that was very interesting to me. I said, okay, I'm going to learn it. And I did, and it was super fun. And then I kind of got hooked. And I realized at some point, I saw that there's a record for solving Rubik's Cubes on a single breath of air. And because I am a free diver, I can really hold my breath for a long time. And I said, okay, I'm going to try.
You combined these two.
Yeah. And at first, I solved 1, 2 cubes because I was really slow with the cube. So it would take me 2 minutes to solve 1 cube, so I would solve 2 maybe at most. And I got better with the cube, and I saw, okay, I could get faster. And that was the biggest actually push for my cubing skills, was to try and achieve this, let's say, record. But then it got more interesting because I realized that these two activities are contradicting each other. Because when you hold your breath, physiologically what happens is first your CO2, so carbon dioxide, goes up in your body, which causes discomfort. That's also what's signaling your body to breathe. That's still okay if you are trained. You can hold that for quite a long time. Then problems emerge when you try to hold your breath for longer and your oxygen saturation starts falling. So you are that after a long time your O2 saturation will start falling, and that has impacts on your mind and on your body. It's also dangerous because that's the reason why you can lose your consciousness. You can black out and drown, drown. But while your oxygen is falling, you also are losing fine motor control and your ability to think straight. So you can be really slow in your head when this is happening, and that's one of the signs that actually you should come and breathe. That's one thing that is contradictory. The other is also when you're holding your breath, my focus is actually to be as relaxed as possible, have slow thoughts, to just be free of pressure in a weird way, right? So maybe just focusing attention on the sensations or doing whatever to distract the mind. But you can't do that when you're solving cubes. That has to happen, you have to be focused and goal-driven, which is the opposite of the state when you are holding your breath. So that was so interesting to me that I just stuck with it and actually was doing that for 2 or 3 years.
Whoa.
Because it was, this contradiction was so, such a nice knot to try and untangle. And I just kept doing it, yeah.
And then you also tried to break the record with it?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What was the...
If I wanted to, now I realize when I started with this, the record was 6 cubes. I got to that number quite quickly and I could do 7 and have the record. But what happened was, I said to myself, I'm gonna do 10, which was so freaking hard for me because I had a plateau with the cubes at some point. You know, my record was 13 seconds, but my average was more around 18. And I couldn't push that further at that time. And it really took me ages to get from 7 cubes to 8, 9, and then 10. And in the meantime, someone else broke the record. So I didn't qualify. I actually had an attempt, an official attempt, but the committee disqualified it because they interpreted the rules differently.
What was the difference?
So
what did you do wrong?
I was lying in the water and I was solving the cube. And I had my partner and the judge. I was solving the cube, and to be as fast as possible, when I solved this cube, they were already have this cube nearby. So I was solving this one, and I just let it go, and I grabbed another one. And they said, no, you should not see the cube while you are solving the other one, which is actually bollocks, because
you're not looking at it.
Underwater, and they were mixed. And it doesn't, but I said, okay, I understand. So if I would do it again, I will stick to the rules,
But then you could break it actually now, isn't it? Or
no,
not?
the record is 16 cubes.
I don't know.
I think I could if you would hire me for a year to train like a madman.
But let's break it down. This means that if you solve the Rubik Cube one in, let's say, 10 seconds, which is already probably, you tell me if this is a good timing. But
it's quite hard to get to 10 seconds, but not impossible.
Yeah, but if it is 10 and if the 16, if you solve 16, that's but 16 times this.
The problem is water, so you have to add a couple of seconds to your time. You know, its friction is different.
It's not so fast.
It's not as fast. Then there's the problem of little time inefficiencies with letting go of the cube, grabbing the cube, and then looking at the cube and seeing where you are and starting. So there's always a little delay there. And the longer you hold your breath, the slower your cubes get.
How did you feel actually by the last two, let's say, in comparison to the normal?
Let's say if I solved the first cube in 20 seconds, the last one could take 50 seconds.
Whoa!
And I could be looking at it and knowing I just have to do one step and then having contractions and really feeling discomfort. And not knowing I have to do something but not knowing how to execute it. So I would just be there looking at it and thinking, oh, come on. And then doing something and it works, or I could also make a mistake and then just be like, okay.
So you actually were a bit of a confusion comes, or how would you describe this?
Yeah, it's when you are good at solving the Rubik's Cube, you train your mind to look at the right things, but you also have a built prospective memory. So, I'm not procedural memory. I'm not skilled in English here. So procedural memory is the memory of skill, execution, driving a bike, playing guitar, whatever. And that skill is actually is unconscious. You do not have conscious recall of that skill. It just happens. But when circumstances change or where you are low on oxygen and in big discomfort because of CO2, then it's really hard to recall that skill, that procedural memory. its recall becomes harder.
Then you have to think it more, or
yeah, but you can't really think because your body thinks it's dying. You can't really. I mean, you have to be as skilled as possible with the cube, and then trained in breath hold and etc. to try and find a way there.
What is the most let's say discomforting? Is the pain because you don't breathe, or is it the will that you are forcing yourself into it?
It's a combination. It's also interesting to observe oneself with the first cube. If I would have a bad solve, it would take a little longer. At the first cube, I would be like, oh no, I still have 9 more. And then it's interesting to deal with that, because this is just a mental aspect. It actually, because the second could be super fast, you don't know. And when an objection or when an issue arises, it's interesting to observe oneself's reaction.
Maybe then you get to know the aspect of yourself that you didn't know before. But tell me, how long did it take you to solve it?
4 minutes and a half or 5 minutes.
5 minutes. What's the record now? The record now with 16? Yeah, with 16.
I don't know the time. The time is not noted. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Someone could be a really fast cuber, and then they can hold their breath for less time. But I'm not a fast cuber, I'm a free diver, and then I have to get better at the cube.
I get now. So if you can hold a breath for 10 minutes, then you are good to go. I mean,
but it's not as, again, it's simple. Even your breath hold time will diminish. My record is 6 minutes and a half, but I could solve cubes for 5 minutes max, because that's another... It's also oxygen consuming to think and to move your hands and to be in a not optimally relaxed state.
I'm not a free diver. I don't know about this stuff. But you said 6.5 minutes you can hold your breath. What would be the average person? Let's say me or average person. How long can
people think they can't hold their breath for a minute? Whereas in reality, if you just sit down with someone and have them guide you through, I think most people reach 2 minutes with some understanding of what's happening and some mind work actually, or relaxation work and breathing work. So 2 minutes is doable. And then when you start training, you come to 3, 4, and 5 is like a big threshold for, let's say, amateurs or for people that are into this. And then, every minute onwards from that is harder.
It's harder. Okay. Do you have also for yourself a goal to have more or
not anymore. And now I'm not freediving for the numbers, which I used to, even depth or time or stuff. And I'm not training as intensely anymore right now. But I think I will at some point maybe return to that. But now I'm just diving for the fun of it. For me, this is flying. Swimming underwater, free diving is flying. It's the closest thing you can get to flying. You can move in any dimension. You can go up, down, and you control your body wherever you want.
Nice. I exhausted all of my questions. Maybe now it's your turn. Let's see what
comes up.
Yeah.
You almost died while hang gliding.
So much about flying.
Yeah.
So much about flying.
What?
Yeah. I was a hang glider years ago, 15 years ago. And it's funny thing, because a lot of people with that question, you had an answer. You wanted to fly. What would be what is the superpower you would like to have? And a lot of people say flying, and it was also my wish from the childhood. So maybe to just wrap this start, nowadays I don't have this wish anymore because I did it in this manner. I will explain what happened maybe there. But if I would now fly, I would like to have an ability like a Superman, without additional physical boundaries, because if you fly, you can fly in so many different ways. You can be a hang glider, which is without the motor. It's more or less like with a kite. This is with a kite. like a bird, but you can be also in a spaceship. You are flying, but this is different stuff. So I would nowadays I would much rather have a like ability as a Superman. I would fly without physical stuff bothering me. To get to the point, what was happening there. I had this wish from my childhood, and then one day when I was studying, I just woke up and said, "No, I'm gonna fly." And I opened the internet. This is actually the point that I remember, that internet just came, the YouTube and so on. It was at that around that time, because I could look it and search it on the net and also watch the videos. And I said, no, I'm gonna fly. I want to fly a kite, not a plane, because I was in the planes and so on, but it didn't, grab me so hard. And then I started just searching, and I enrolled into a class, and we started training. And what you do first, you start training with hang gliding from a small hill. You run with the kite. It's the same as you have a kite. You run with it from a small distance, and and then you go higher and higher. And there comes a point. It came in our seminar that you have to jump on your own, from a high point, let's say, okay? And what happened was that we flew in southern Julian Alps in Tolmin. There was a landing place, and there are certain rules, as they are in almost any let's say extreme sports. One of them is that you don't fly when it's windy, a lot of wind or strong wind, or when it's very thermic, let's say, when the uplifts are like in the middle of the day. It's like roller coaster, the updraft throws you like an
glider planes want that, right?
Glider planes, the professionals actually fly in that period of the day, because when you're now looking at the sky now in these very hot days, you see birds. What do? They circle. They circle. Why? Because there is a pillar of a hot air, and they find it. They just circle. And it's funny thing, because birds maneuver with each feathers at the tip of the fingers, let's say. And they just, they don't use any of their own energy. They just use the energy of the uplift. But for a starter, for a not experienced person, this is like a nightmare, because you don't know what to do. You are not a bird. It's much easier to learn a driving vehicle or a bicycle or something, because we are more familiar with it. And what happened on that first flight was that first you have to overcome the fear of the jumping into the unknown. And then when I jumped, the first few minutes I was like tense, very tense. I was like in the air, and then I relaxed into it. But at that day, these conditions can shift very fast. And at the bottom, there was a crosswind. So another golden rule is that you always land facing the wind. So you should not land with the wind, but against the wind. So you break the lift. Okay. So you see the kites, then you fly, and then you do like this with the kite, and then you break the lift, and then you easily just jump, as also birds do. So the easiest way is to be in line with the landing site. But at that day there was a crosswind. So this is for experienced glider. This is he can know what to do with that. But if you have been in Tolmin, there is this landing place, and then along is the road, and then parallel to that there is a river, and then a big forest, and then big these tall power lines. This is another golden rule. You should mind the power lines, but these all are parallel. So what you need to do in this, I had a crosswind, so I had to go like not parallel to the side, but I had to go like from the side. But what happened is that I couldn't calculate how far do I have to go, because when you're going with the wind, you're faster, but then back, it slows you down. And the instructor didn't also know
So you have communication.
Yeah, you have communication. So you are with instructor, but he tells you, okay, you have to. So basically, it's pretty much safe, but it's an extreme sport. You know, you don't know what happens. Also, it's unpredictable, and this crosswind was so strong that I flew away from this landing site too much. So then I turned and I started to go back. But then when I turned, I sensed it stopped me because the wind was hitting me. And then I saw the power lines and the forest and, you know, and I was like slowly getting over the power lines and over the forest. And coincidentally, I didn't die. But I don't know. It was probably luck that I landed as a professional, but I was not. I landed over the really in sync with the line how it should be. And then I turned into the wind and I landed. So it was a close call, a very close call, because I didn't know what to do at that point, and I was scared to.
But in the air, how do you know where the wind is? Do you have some little ropes or that?
Yeah, this is another thing. So what you do with when you're in the air, you are not covered. Okay, so you sense with your skin, you sense different things: the temperature of the air. And also the speed. This was one also mistake when I flew the first time. I didn't know how it should feel, and I had the earpiece in, my instructor, and he told me, I was like driving very slow. So you put the speed on, let's say, you pull the handle towards yourself, so then you go like down, and then this builds up the speed. But I didn't sense this because I was not experienced, and he was shouting, and also the earpieces were not so good, and I couldn't hear him, and he was screaming, pull, to gain the speed. Because if you don't have speed, what happens?
To drop, right?
Yeah, you drop. You don't have lift, isn't it? Because the wings don't work. So if this happens, if you are too slow, you just the kite gets not responsive, and you can just like spiral down, and you basically can be in very, very big problems if you're low in the terrain. And I was, because I was starting from a low hill. I was the beginner. So what happened is that I didn't sense that it should be more of the air in my skin. So I was driving it very slow, and he was screaming, pull. Then I heard after a few seconds, and I pulled, and I sensed at that moment, this is the way I should drive it. This is the one way. And then how you also see is by the terrain. You watch the terrain, and you also have this, you know, the bag, which is close by normally, or you have sticks with the ropes, or. But if you're not, if you're not the beginner, then you sense it because you feel it from which direction it goes. And then you also have the digital things to show you the uplift. You have a sound. So when you hit the pillar of hot air, it catapults you up, and then the machine goes crazy and it beeps. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, that's the same in glide planes, the beep, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's the same. So this was very close call, but it was not this was the first, so I enjoyed, and then I proceeded 1 year. I was flying, and it was really nice as a bird, you know. But maybe to wrap this story, how it ended, I flew in another place in Aydochina. There was a very nice day, but another golden rule is that you don't enter the cloud. This is, you never do this because you can die. A lot of people flew into the mountain because you cannot see in the cloud. Yeah. But not just that, the cloud sucks you in. It's like a hell. People cannot realize how big of a machine this is. And what happened is that, you know, they say that before the storm calms, the weather calms down. And it was very calm that day. And I flew up. This was probably the highest that I flew, really on top of the ridges, on the mountains. But at that time, I didn't have the piece anymore because I didn't need it. But on the ground later, they told me that the instructor was really like pissed, and because I was getting closer to a big, like almost cumulonimbus, it was not, but it was started to get like a very, very stormy cloud. And I was at a distance of it. It was maybe a few kilometers, but this is, the hot air just drags you in. But I didn't sense that, and it was very safe for me. So at that point I returned, but later they told me one professional came down and said, "Who is this up there?" And they said, "It's a beginner." "What? It's a beginner up there? He should be here." And later they told me how concerned they were. But this was the last time that I flew. I had a really nice experience. But what happened, why I stopped, because I saw that if I want this to be a safe sport, I have to really be full in it. Yeah. Because one of my schoolmates died actually, just a few weeks before. Why? Because he broke the golden rule. If you're a beginner, one is that you shouldn't fly alone, never, because you are not experienced. But the common golden rule is that you don't fly over the hill. So when you have a hill, you have two types of uplift. One is thermal uplift, the other one is the ridge uplift. So this is normal way how you gain the height. Just flying along the hill, and the wind, when it comes, it pushes, it lifts you up. Okay, but what happens on the other side of the hill? The wind drags you down. So you should not fly over the hill, because then you get, normally there are forests, and it's like a suicide. And that guy, he was we called him extremist. He came from a paragliding, and he was overconfident, and I'm gonna go with my friend, and he went, and he flew, but then he saw he was he didn't have altitude, and he wanted to go over, and he was too low, and then he passed the ridge, but hit the top of the spruce, and he cut the top of the spruce because of it, and he fell like, I don't know, 25 meters to the ground, broke his legs.
Oh no!
And he called the friend, but when the friend came, he was already dead. And all of these aspects, then I decided, no, I'm not gonna be full in, because it's too dangerous. Because I said, we are not birds, and you have to really train your senses and different situations that it is safe. Then it is safe. But with that guy, he came from paragliding, and paragliding is a few people came from paragliding to the hang gliding. Because hang gliding is much faster, you are much more as a bird. Paragliding is, it can be fast, but you're sitting. But in hang glider, you are like a bird. And but it's a different sport. Yeah. And he was overconfident, and then he...
Yeah, that's really cool. It's sad, because I can imagine you get dragged into such a complication quickly, because it also in freediving it happens a lot. So
you can probably go very low, but you shouldn't, isn't it? Very deep.
Yeah, the rules are similar. You should never dive alone. There are some safety things you have to keep in mind. But also, what triggers me, or what sometimes pushes me over the edge, is actually overconfidence, and that's something we should really keep in mind. It's sad stories then, because they could be prevented, but you never know, or it's easy to know in retrospect, but it's hard to tell before.
Yeah. I mean, these sports, as much as they sound extreme, they are actually not, if you know what you're doing. And when you are a starter, you don't know, but what you do, you hire a professional trainer, and then you are in good hands. Most of the times, there is not a, but a lot of people judge or they get carried away, and it's how it is. Let's go on with that next one.
Next one
for you. Let's see what is the next one. Adventure. What is the next adventure? You swam with dolphins and a shark. So from flying to swimming.
Yeah.
Now you can. This is a similar thing in.
As I told you, I'm a free diver.
Yeah.
And more for me, it's interesting to look up interesting spots where there is either wildlife or marine life that I could see or interact with. And this happened in South Africa. We were on a sardine run, which means there is a certain time where a lot of sardines swim upstream from south of Africa towards, let's say, southeast. And though that migration of sardines, it's really triggering for all the predators of sardines. And what happens is that dolphins, they start and they form bait balls of sardines, so they communicate with each other and they swim around the group of sardines, and they hurl them in a ball so they can feast. But then the other animals also notice that, and birds, gannets, they start flying in the water and they start swooping in on the fish. Sharks are on the bottom and they also come and they grab the fish, and also whales come to feast. So it's a huge action. And as a free diver, I really wanted to experience it, but in a way that would be, as cool as possible. So these things don't happen with huge excursion boats, or they happen on dinghies, so little inflatable boats, and you actually try to find the action. And it took us quite a long time, but then at some point, after a couple of days, we managed to do it. And yeah, you could literally be diving in the middle of dolphins swimming through the bait balls, the gannets diving in, and also the sharks. And the idea is you are not interesting to any of the animals because they are all looking at the sardines. That was the moment when, I had a little shark encounter, but nothing special. Just one of them nudged me over because I think I was on it
on the way of the food.
His food, yeah. But from this underwater experience, this was, let's say, most adrenaline-like because I was a bit stressed. But my nicest experience was a few days before that, we encountered a megapod of dolphins. So literally like thousands of dolphins just swimming towards us. Yeah, I mean,
like a herd, like
1,000, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it was not a few. It was like
you
many.
would look at the horizon and it would just be going like little dolphin jumps. And so you position yourself on their route, and then you dive and you see if they want to interact. If they don't, they pass you by. You don't have any option. But at this point, they were really curious and they started to dive around with us. And it's interesting because they have eyes, you establish some contact, and they are actually playful. So if you start to swim around and if you see they are interested, then you start to wiggle and do weird shapes with the body, and they do the same, or you blow out air. It's interesting to them. But in this sense, the most interesting experience I had was, so this was kind of on the way back, the whole group was just sitting and just thinking, what just happened? We were really touched. It was very beautiful. But from this whole trip, what I actually had the most fun, or what was the most memorable experience for me, was on our way home one day, we would park our boat. We were also diving around the kelp forests. That's a really interesting place to dive because it's like a playground. It's like a forest but underwater with you grab stuff, you look at stuff. But that day we were coming back, and our guide noticed that there might be two sea lions, or is that the word? Seals. Sorry, two seals below some wrecks.
Mhm.
So it's a ship that was really not in a good state. It was not a wreck underwater, but above water.
Mhm.
And then there were some underwater areas where you could go to under the ship, but not closed. So look, there are 2 seals. Maybe we just go check them out. Oh no! We were actually trying to find a rare shark, a 7-gill shark, which is like almost a dinosaur, and we found it there. Also really interesting. But then we noticed 2 seals. That's what happened. And those 2 seals were super curious. They were literally teasing us. And then the whole group went down and we played with them for, I don't know, an hour. And that was amazing because, you know, it's one thing to have contact with an animal, but it's a whole nother thing if you play with the animal that you did not expect to play
Wild
from.
animal. Wild. This is wild animal.
Either a dolphin. Dolphins were also playful, but those seals, they were extremely playful. They were literally, and we were trying to catch air. We were breathing like crazy, and they were just having a go at us. We would just, we would mix. One would go down, the other would go down, and the seals, they were just having the time of their life as well.
Oh,
so it was super, also moving and super fun.
Wow. Okay. So how was it with the dolphins? What was the most? So this is not a. Is this a dangerous thing to do with to
Depends
swim
who
with
you
dolphins?
ask. I mean, it is.
Can it be dangerous? Can they treat you like not a prey maybe, but as a threat?
Well, probably it could be dangerous, but here where we were doing, there was no one had any bad experiences, and in general, if you ask free divers, they will say the dolphins are not dangerous. But if you ask marine biologists, they will tell you they can be dangerous. So I don't know. I'm mixed feelings here. I'm not sure who to listen to.
Yeah.
But it also probably, I mean, in Croatia, let's say, no one would swim with dolphins. If you would be on a sailing boat and dolphins come by, no one goes in the water. But in, okay, let's say Egypt or South Africa or Mexico or a place like that, free divers would swim with dolphins and never have any bad experiences. But, you know, there are cases when dolphins would, I don't know, try to play with someone and maybe something bad happened, but I don't know a lot about that. The touching thing here is that dolphins have echolocation. So you would be swimming and just first hearing this weird kind of robotic noises and not knowing what's happening. The feeling is like they totally see you, they know you're there, and then they come and they interact and you hear those little beeps which are so interesting. And those beeps are different than the beeps they do when they're hunting. In the bait balls, the feeling is different. You also hear echolocation, but it's, for me, the feeling was more, there it was more to the point. It was like, it felt strict or sharp. Whereas there, where we were meeting the pod, it felt really playful. And yeah, there was a feeling of communication or interaction, which was most touching.
So you could sense actually the difference when you were when they were hunting, the difference in sound. You could sense, you could hear it.
Yeah, I think. I mean that was my interpretation, but I had a much more playful feeling with the sounds. I mean, it's crazy what people do when this happens. I would also try to make sounds. You know, you do everything in your power to establish some kind of interaction. You would wave, turn around, blow air. I would create noises. I would do all sorts of stuff. You try and replicate their noises. You can't. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Maybe they are thinking, "Oh, what a strange alien! Let's go and find out what he's about."
Exactly. And those were really, really, really nice experiences.
Yeah, nice that you shared this. It's interesting to hear. I've never dived, but I would like maybe. But how deep is it? This with the?
No, it's not deep. It's
but you don't go with go
without a scuba gear. It's not deep. It's 5-10 meters maybe, 15 maybe. if you want to go down. But in those bait balls, you know that probably sharks are down and the water gets more murkier, so you don't really try and.
But this is quite dangerous. This is amazing. I mean, no, the quite dangerous. How is it for you? Because I referenced earlier an extremist, but this is, from my standpoint, it's not. I think a common man or a common human would just go and do. As you said, it's not a tourist trip, or is it? Is it? You have to be in a free diving. Let's say areas or
free diving stamina. But I mean, these kinds of things. Let's say the kelp forest, you could do with just your snorkeling background. Even these things you could do with a snorkel, but it's one thing to look at this from the surface of the sea. It's another thing to dive down and have the ability to stay down a bit. That's why I think the added experience comes in.
Yeah, you had this capability to stay underwater.
And I'm not a fan of mass, let's say, snorkeling tourism, but there's always the problem of nobody wants mass tourism, but we all want tourism. I want experiences, but I don't want a lot of people to have those experiences. So it's a two-edged sword. I think we have to decide and then be mindful when we do these kinds of things, because you're interacting with the environment, the animals. You shouldn't disturb them. You should not actually leave any traces or be intrusive to the animals. The extreme of that is you have a big boat that just hurls 200 people in and says, okay, go swim with dolphins now. In South Africa, that doesn't happen because it's not possible. The conditions are, for us to get into the dinghy, we would have to first, a whole group would push the boat and then wait for the right wave, and then we would run with the boat and then jump in, and then he would turn on the engine and we would go. So
it's a struggle. You're trying to say it's not.
It's like a sport vacation. But in Egypt, you could go on a sailboat and swim with dolphins, but that's more. I don't like that as much because it's more. There's much more people. It's easier to go to. But who am I then to say, well, you shouldn't swim with dolphins? If I also did it and was interested in it, I don't know.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, nice. Nice.
That was the dolphin. Let's see if we come.
No, it is still. Let's see what.
You lived for 6 months secluded in the woods.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a video on that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
How did that come about?
Probably from the same manner as we started our conversation. When studying, I studied like architecture for 5 years and so on, and then you're enveloped in this system and so on. And I couldn't, in these 5 years, I wasn't able to somehow, it didn't feel like I found myself, or, it was a lot of these tasks or let's say exams were kind of not, it didn't resonate with me, So I set myself on a let's say, I had a mission, let's say, to be able for the last exam, which is master's degree, I said to myself, I will find something that I enjoy and that I know that it's true to myself, and it will be done in a real physical stuff. Because I saw in the library all of those master theses that were just finished ideas and they stuck on the shelf forever. And it was a pity for me, because this is so much of a creativity for what? For, if each student would do some small thing, we could change so much of our world, because it would be done, not just here in the mind, but it would be done physically. This is what I also missed in my studies, like let's do something, not just plan for it. As architect, we plan, but I wanted to really do stuff. And then I set myself on, let's say, adventure, and 1 year passed, 2 years passed, went by, and I really, at that time, I just stayed open and examined different, studied different modes of living and so on. And we met with my partner. We traveled a lot, slept everywhere in different sorts, in tipis, in yurtas, in everywhere. So I just started exploring. Then 1 year, 2 years, 3 years went by. My relatives started to, push me. What are you doing? It was like 5 years of study, and now it's 6, 7, 8 years have passed. And what are you doing? I said, no, I'm not gonna do anything unless I have this, and unless I have the something that I know I'm gonna do. And then, out of coincidence, this is another story how this came about. I'm not gonna go there, but we found this house in the woods. Maybe it's a better way to put it. She find us. Okay, it was like very far away from any village. It was really secluded, without electricity, without water, without running water, without toilet, without anything. It's more like a shack, but it was nice abandoned house, small house. And we came across that, and we left a note under the doorstep. Okay, we pushed the note in, and the note said, "We want to live here. If you lend us a house, we can give you back that we renovated." Okay, we left the note there, and we forgot about it for months. And then after a few months, we get a call from the owner, who lived very near. He was living there, but the house was as a weekend house for him in the past. But then he lived too close to maintain it or to be there. But now and then, he came, and after a few months he came, and he gave us a call, and he said, "You can stay there as long as you just tidy it a little bit. We don't mind. We just stay." It was really like also intuition call for them, because they were the older couple, but they were open enough to allow this, because this house was built by his father, and later he told me that if the father would be alive, he wouldn't allow to touch his house. And so what happened is that speaking about diving, hang gliding, and so on. But this experience, the decision to go and live, to move, we were actually then living in the middle of the Ljubljana, just across the rock, in the very center, in the very urban area. And the decision to move from the city to nature was one of the most, was most fearful decisions of my life. For sure. And from then the adventure started, which was 6 months of being there, studying, acclimating to the forest, and then also my renovation process started alongside that, and I renovated a part of the house and so on. And then from all of these experiences, I then made a master's thesis. And this was then packed as a master's thesis, as a final exam on the faculty. After 9 years, then I finished. Yeah.
But what, the house was like solid? So it was a built house?
Yeah, it was brunerica, so it's a solid wood house.
And what did you do? What was your renovation of it?
Maybe I'll embed pictures in it later in the post-production, because it's nice to see before and after. It's funny thing, because for me as an architect, I immediately, when I moved from the city, I saw how much baggage we as humans carry and bring to different environments. And the before state of that house was very saturated with stuff, as a lot of houses nowadays, attics are what? Dump yards. It was the same with this house. It was filled with stuff which accumulated during all of these years through 3 generations, the grandfather, now these 2 guys, and then also the youngsters. and so on. So it was abandoned, filled with stuff. There were also like a wasp nest, was like this big wasp nest inside of it. And maybe here I can mention two or few instances. There were also ants. So there were wasps living in the house, in their own house, like big nest. But in the house, in the solid wood, a big colony of ants was there. And then also, I don't know what is the English word for poch.
Yeah.
It's like a squirrel, but not the gray squirrel. So these little animals, similar to gray ones, similar to squirrels, were also living inside the house, and they get active when you want to sleep. They get active, and when it's a small house, it is like a guitar here. It is like a echo chamber of the. So we had problems. You see, this is also what I noticed. We immediately put a stamp on what we don't want. These are the problems for us, and then we want to, we want to eliminate them. And we didn't want to use chemicals for the ants. And what we did, we studied, not with AI, but we researched like books. What should we do to kindly ask them to move? I mean, we were intruders too. How to ask them to move? And what happened is that we, cinnamon, whatever. We went through so many different methods, and none of them worked. We knew that if we would pour like gasoline and blah blah blah, but we didn't want that. And funny thing happened that we just, after a few weeks, we said, no, let's leave them. Let's live with them. It's annoying, but let's live with them. But this is one of those, let's say, magical experiences. They went and left on their own.
Oh.
Why? I think, I don't know, but I presume because of the vibrations. We in the solid wood house, we step on the boards, and because of those vibrations and the proximity of us living there, they just kindly move there. So you see, this was one of the nice experiences with animals that we saw. Oh, it's not maybe the way to force somebody to move. Now it struck me. Isn't that the same with us and the wars and so on? With humans, we shouldn't I had with those animals, we shouldn't force somebody to do something. Then you get like a resistance. But this was with ants. But with the squirrel-like animals, we also oh no, we are not sleeping for days now because it's so much noise on the attic. And we said, please, something should happen to those guys, because we cannot, And funny thing, because in few days, what happened is that another animal came, which I don't know the name as well. Kuna, Zlatica. Kuna is the longer squirrel, let's say. It's who hunts them. Kuna Zlatica, it's a golden, let's say, squirrel animal. But what happened? We at the night we heard like a fight, and in the morning we just saw the half of the squirrel lying there. So the
gray ones,
the gray ones were actually eaten by the another big squirrel, let's say. So from then on, the house was just empty. But so these two instances were like very impactful. How I was, living in the house with the animals in the forest. And there were also a lot of ticks, clopid ticks, like nests of ticks. And we were barefoot, And when I went around the house, I had hundreds of ticks all over my body, and I figured, okay, I can freak out and whatever, but no, what we did is how we can adjust to them, And what happened was that the longer we stayed, we knew where the nests are, so I would not step into big grass. This was one thing, and then another thing was when I accidentally stepped into it. No. The funny thing is that my sense for the ticks sharpened. So now, also nowadays, when I sense a small tick climbing my my foot, and because I was barefoot, the ticks were just in contact directly immediately with my skin. So I would just just take them off, and that's another adjustment with the animals.
And you lived there the whole half a year without electricity and water and everything?
We collected water in a nearby well, which is really nice because it was the freshest of the freshest water I ever drank. With electricity, we, after like 3 maybe or 4 months, installed like panel of a photovoltaic panel, but it didn't serve us much because we couldn't. There was no signal there also. We had to climb a big hill there, or on top of the baby hill, to have a signal. So it was completely, this was another fear, of my wife's, actually, more than myself, because you are alone in the wilderness and you don't have a signal. Then if you have fears, something or somebody or I don't know what would come and do something to you, you're left alone. And this is another challenge, which was for my wife actually bigger than for me. But it is funny that it arises because, we think in a city that we are safe, which we are, police can come and so on. But I say from then on, it's a false safety because you think you're safe, but you're actually not. If you just move yourself in an area where there is no help, or like in the nature, then you sense, you are actually, nobody maybe can come, or well, what to do then? Then the fears arise. And this was also challenging things to overcome this or deal with those emotions, which were quite of unknown living in the city. You're living in a bubble most of the time. We are and if you don't have these experiences, you cannot know. And a lot of people approach me regarding that story and say, maybe I also want to go. And I tell them, no, you should not go. You should not force it. Maybe go and just camp for a start somewhere, and you will see these forces are starting to get camp somewhere, or sleep with a bag under the stars. It's already a step. Just one night or few nights.
And for food, you went to the store, or?
We went also, but we didn't have a fridge, so we switched our food to more organic. It was mostly vegetables, and the stuff that doesn't, rot and so on. So we didn't eat meat maybe at all, and we learned how to collect from the nature. There are big mushrooms and so on, and herbs, and so much of different things we could eat. Wild food most of the time, which you have to know how to use, because we are also not used of the wild foods in saturated diet. You have to be careful. And but these are all. So one thing was how to survive, which was most of the time how to survive, and then the other thing was creative stuff. How to turn this into the creativity, how to approach the renovation. So this actually changed my view of the architecture, which processes to use to build a house, which shapes, and so on. A lot of stuff which I then assembled into the master thesis.
And so what did you do like most of the time? after you got accustomed to it? Like, what was your
daily routine or daily? It's interesting how it changed, because we woke up with the sun as birds do, and we went to sleep with them, because it was natural thing to do with no electricity. We had candles, which was really nice to have, but then we sensed that it is struggle to live in that way, that you want to work. Now we know what, like Descartes and all of those thinkers had to go through when they were working at night. Well, now we have electricity, but with a candle, try to work, write a book one week maybe by the candlelight. It is like painful, and we said we shouldn't force it, to live in that manner as we lived in the city. And this was like then a frame which got narrower by the winter time, and during the day, we a lot of time went into survival mode, so cooking, preparing, and being, but not so much because we knew how to deal with that. But then I renovated the house. This was my actually big task, and without any tools, like I had tools, but mostly manual, and also I had skills because I come from a carpenter's family, so I know how to deal with stuff, with wood and woodworking, and with crafts, let's say. And it was this was most of the time, this was my occupation of the day. But then between those creative processes of me working, there was just, we observed nature a lot, and as you nicely outlined the story with dolphins, we had also with same experience with the animals in the woods. We were, for example, singing, and the birds and the animals started, but this was after like months, when we we got into a harmony more with the forest. They started like singing with us, like really, I sensed really like a connection with the forest, deep connection. And and then by the fire at night and so on, so many different. There was one big fear we had. We had this sound at night, like from the horror movies, and it went for also weeks, months, and we didn't know what is this, and it was really scary because it was like, or really, I cannot actually mimic it, but it was really kind of a sinister. And we tried to make sense of it, and we couldn't. And we just, lived with that sound, and we were scared a bit of it. But then I went on the hill one day, and I was, let's figure this one out. What is this? And is there a train maybe nearby? But there was no train, And then I just observed the nature, and I heard wind going along across the ridges and so on. And I figured that the house acted as an instrument, as a guitar, as a resonant box for the wind. And when wind hit the house, it resonated in this manner. So we were like living in a guitar, let's say. Yeah. And this was the sound. And so when we, figure out, it was like, this is just the playful nature. Yeah, this was the experience. Yeah. In a nutshell, let's say. But it really changed me in a lot of ways. In not just in architecture and how I see or how I approach the architecture, also how I see the nature and the processes, how to live and what to, all of the, but also psychologically, how to deal with the partner, how to be in the nature, how to be with yourself, with somebody else. Because if you're alone is one thing, and if you are alone with a partner in so condensed space and time, it is another thing. And it was really from that angle also like a really And yeah, I always try to avoid nice, bad experiences. There were intense experiences, which I learned from.
Interesting.
Should I go with
Another
one for you? Let's see what it says. So this is about the number pi. Yeah. You will tell me how many of the digits and how did you do it. So you memorized the pi. What is this pi about, and how do you do it?
It's a mnemonic. It's a memory technique that's behind it. Yeah, I memorized first 3,141 digits of pi, and now I'm trying to memorize 11,000 digits.
11,000. Just I have to pause to just think how many digits these are.
Yeah, but you know, if it depends how you
think of it. Probably.
Yeah, how you group them, what's your system. But yeah, my interest here is developing a mental skill of memorization through memory palaces, and that
please do explain, because I'm not familiar with it.
A memory palace is an ancient Greek invention. It's a technique used to remember more, better, and so on. Because for them, memory was crucial for day-to-day interactions and also for their creativity, work, for discussions, and so on. Also, a lot of spoken word was actually just was transmitted via memory, so you have to remember a lot. And it, in fact, is just a really wise insight into the workings of our memory. And our memory is really related to space, to spaces in our life. We cannot, if I ask you what you ate for lunch yesterday or this weekend, you will inevitably think of a space because it's connected. It's connected because of the workings of our brain, and I think because of our understanding. And you can use this connection in the other way. You can use it to remember more. Another example of this connection is if you lose your wallet, keys, phone, you usually just think about the path of the spaces you went through, and then you find the missing memory where you left, whatever.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And memory palace is using the fact that we have a lot of spatial memories, a lot of memories of space, that they just are. They help us exist. They help us navigate the world, our day-to-day world, and they are not something you have to memorize extra. But they can be holders of other information. So in the most concrete sense, a memory palace is a series of spaces, let's say a road or a path you know well in your life. It could start in your bedroom, let's say, and then just be a path toward a store or your work or your school or something else. So it's a path. And that path can have little spaces. So if I start in my bedroom, then there's the living room, the bathroom, working room, kitchen, hallway, stairs, entrance, and so on and so on. This is not a path of my routine. So I don't say living room, bathroom, living room. I don't say bedroom, bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, living room. I don't use the day-to-day, but I just create a path through the spaces I know well that goes from their innermost space to the outermost space. Just a path. And this path you cannot forget. It's outside of you in a weird way.
Yeah.
And you use this path to remember things. So with the help of your imagination. The spaces become holders when you imagine in the spaces really vivid images of whatever you're trying to memorize. In the case of numbers, it becomes a bit more complicated, but let's say if we're memorizing a shopping list, I don't know, tomatoes, cheese, toilet paper, etc.
Yeah.
If we'd want to memorize this with a memory palace, we would say, okay, tomato, so I have to pair tomato with bedroom. Now I'm gonna create an interesting, vivid image of something unusual, surprising, with a tomato in the bedroom. So I won't say there is a tomato lying on my bed. No, that's boring. That stimulates no response in myself. I would imagine I have a bed made of tomatoes, or I am putting a tomato to sleep, or I am sleeping and just throwing tomatoes on the ceiling and they're falling off. So something weird in a way.
Okay.
And if I then try to picture that in my mind with all my senses, there's no way I forget that. That will stick. And I can do that almost inevitably.
But how you connect the number to it?
So numbers
the same way.
Then
because
it becomes another layer. So because we have no relationship to numbers, we have to turn them into something that is more a fuel for our imagination. So the first step with numbers is you turn them into objects via their shape.
Okay.
So an 8 would be a snowman, let's say. A 9 could be an umbrella. There's this thing, and then there's the handle. A 4 could be a sailboat, or I don't know. So you always just find images that are your go-to images for each of the numbers.
And you have just 10 of them, or 9 of them. Or
yes,
0, or
you have 0 to 9. So you have 10, and then the most basic way would be to just create this path, which then has to be longer, obviously. Let's say 100 spaces, which is not that hard to think of. We really know a lot of spaces. And then you just picture the symbol, each symbol on each space. But to get better, then there are different ways of creating more elaborate images that actually form that use more numbers.
Okay, I will stop you there, and just to frame this so we can understand. So the basic thing is, okay, 8 is let's say a snowman, and you put it in the living room, and you play with the snowman from the movie, let's say. And this is the one reference. This is small reference, but now you tell me what is the elaboration of that. What is the sophistication of or how you put it?
What's the development?
What is the most what would you say, the advanced stuff of that method or similar method?
There are two ways of optimizing this. If you would want to memorize 11,000 digits, one space, one digit, that will probably be super hard. So you optimize first in getting more areas from one space. So my bedroom consists of 40 stages. So I start under my wife's side of the bed. No, sorry. I start on the bed, then it's under my wife's bed, side of the bed, under my bed, side of the bed. Then it's under my cupboard. Then it's first drawer, second drawer, third drawer. Then it's the up drawer, the upside of the drawer.
And all of these are numbers?
All of these are holders for numbers. So these are just spaces of the path. Instead of bedroom being one space, I create 40 spaces out of one bedroom. So now I already optimized. I could remember 40 digits if I would hold one digit per space, right? Because now I have an intricate path in one space.
Okay.
And that's also something you cannot forget. The spaces you could easily build it up. And the second optimization comes in the shape of a coding system for the numbers. So for me, one image is 6 numbers. I can create, because I have an image, 100 objects, places, persons, actions, and objects. So I'll give an example. For me, I don't know, give me a 6-digit number.
6 digit? Yeah. Just off the top of my head?
Yeah,
and I will not memorize, I will just give you. Okay. Yeah. 3, 7, 5, 4, 1, 0. Okay, so that would be Magnifico, a singer, 3, 7, 5, 4, playing a medieval lute, and then it's 1, 0 with a baseball bat. That's weird, but I have a pre-arranged system that turns every 2-digit pair into either a person, an action, or an object.
So that way, I always know Magnifico playing the lute with the baseball bat will be 375410. And
Magnifico playing a lute with the baseball bat.
Yeah.
So now what we did probably is actually I could remind you in a few months that action. And would you know then the number?
Well, if you would tell me the action, I would know it. It's a system. But if you would, and I have a year, ask me, hey, do you remember the number I told you in the podcast?
Yeah.
If I have no interest to memorize this, or if I don't repeat it, then it will probably fade away. This is not a magical pill. But if we would bet or something, then I could easily keep it in mind. Yeah.
Let's do. This was nice example. Let's do it like this. Tell me maybe first 20 digits of number pi, and then explain what happened in your mind.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, I don't want to talk about the images because they are actually quite. In a way, they are personal. So I have to form as vivid images as possible. I mean, it will take a long time because then I have to translate into more, let's say, for me, it's just going on this path and, I don't know, I start off with a friend I know that is throwing snowballs into soap, and then so on and so on and so on. So it doesn't make much sense to anyone.
Yeah.
But the key thing here is the system. So
tell me what would happen. So you're not you're reluctant to maybe outline it. Why? Because you would lose the magic of it, or
no. I would just have to. There are.
What would happen?
I always use people from my life.
Yeah.
And they are in weird situations. So that's the point, because I have to create as weird images as possible.
You would actually tell me secret story of your source of creativity with the persons.
Someone might feel offended, or I don't know. That's why when I do this publicly, this was a nice one because it was Magnifico and it was a coincidence. But when I do this publicly, I usually find images that are with public personalities, like Magnifico. I have a couple more of them.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's my friends, and they are in weird situations.
Okay, then let's try an easier one and tell me that I just get a sense of a different one. Let's say 9, 8, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 1.
Well, this was not a 6-digit number.
Oh, you have to have 6.
Yeah, the 6 is a building block for me.
Okay.
The 6 is the complete system, right? Because it's a person, action, object. 2 digits person, 2 digits action, 2 digits object.
Okay, then let's make it 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.
Okay, 3. That's a friend that is trying to fix a vacuum cleaner. Now, the idea is the person, action, object logic comes in play where, if let's say we establish that 3, 3 is my friend and 3, 7 is the singer, Magnifico, right? If we would have 3, 7, 3, 3, 3, 3, the image would be Magnifico trying to fix the vacuum cleaner.
I see it, yeah.
If we would turn the other way, if we would have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 7, it would be Magnifico's object. By the way, in my system is flour, as in the baking flour.
You would change the person with an object or reference.
Every 2 digits have a person, an action, or an object.
Person, action, yeah.
And then, based on which place of the 6 digits they are in, they get divided. They get assigned that thing. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 7 would be my friend trying to fix flour, baking flour. But that's a rather complicated system, and people usually think it's too much work to remember, and it is a lot of work. But this system I can use to remember any kind of string of numbers. Or
this method works with numbers. Can you change it with other stuff?
And then with other stuff, then you just have to be a bit more creative with what's your coding, right? So if whatever you're trying to memorize, let's say, I don't know, if I'm memorizing a poem, I would find images for let's say, each of the
Words or what?
Verses, not words.
Verses.
Verses, or even what's the word for verses? More verses. So it's
yeah, it's like
Kitica.
yeah, kitica.
Let's say parts of the poem, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be verbatim, because that takes a lot of time. You just have little guideposts. Or when people try to memorize, public speaking is another thing. What do we do today? We use PowerPoint as our memory aid. Actually, our PowerPoint is the cheat sheet, right? You know what you're going to say based on the slides you create. But you could do the same thing with creating images of what you want to say in your mind on a path. You have, let's say I start off with, I don't know, I start my presentation with talking about the Eiffel Tower. And so I would just picture an Eiffel Tower in my bedroom. The next thing, and then I switch to talking about Paris as a city that managed to get the river in better shape, so people swim in them. In the living room, I will imagine a Seine and people jumping in it, or me drinking the water.
You would use the similar technique, but just
exactly.
adjusted.
It can be a bit more creative when you're not strictly tied to numbers, or you can use it for studies, or you can use it for words, and then it's just a variation of the thing.
Nick, tell me now, how can you manage? Okay, then you have this 6 digits, and then you put just how do you then know which 6 follow the other 6, you know?
Yeah, that's the guide of the path.
Of the path.
You will not mix the space, you know.
But how do you know? Do you go like this? I go from the kitchen to my bedroom, and then there is a snowman, blah blah blah. Do you go like on a path? But path needs to go a certain way, isn't it? From kitchen to the bedroom.
Exactly, yeah. No, from bed, let's say we start at bedroom is our starting point, and we know we're going toward the outside, right?
Yeah.
And once you create this path, you will not mix the spaces. You know, if I say, okay, bedroom, living room, bathroom, working room, kitchen, hallway, stairs. For me, that's the logical path from my bedroom to the outside.
So you don't mix it.
You never. You won't say I start in the bedroom, then I'm in my work. No, you know what the spaces are in line.
But if you have like thousands of them, what happens then? You have this castle of you use what? Then only just your house, or the other houses, everything.
Ljubljana and my hometown and a couple of places I traveled to. So it's
whoa, Nick. Maybe this isn't a creative idea. This would be a great movie.
Yeah, I've created a theater show based on
that.
What you asked me actually. Can you tell me like the first 20 digits? I created a show out of that, and I created scenes from each of the numbers. Yeah.
So
because it's imagination at play. It's it's really a work of imagination, not as much of numbers or anything else.
One question here popped into my head: what happens if you're blind? From the birth.
So in working with memory, actually, vision is not our most important sense. And when creating these images, I said picture it or picture the image. I don't mean just see it. I mean see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, and sense it in the touch. So you have to incorporate all the senses.
Then you don't use visuals per se. But you can do the same method.
I don't know how a person that doesn't have a sight, how they perceive the space, but I'm sure they do, because they know how to go from one place to another. So they have a spatial memory. It's just different, probably.
What I figured is the difference between me and my wife is that I think in pictures much more than she does. She thinks in feelings much more. Is this a difference in different people that could play a role here? That some of them, but they can recall spaces, but they are just not in the primer mode of the.
We all think of spaces. We all have a memory of spaces. It's not connected to even our ability to navigate or orient. No, you have, it's outside of your control. You need it to survive. To know how to come from here to the store. You know that. And this is your starting point. And then the objective is create as interesting an image as possible. And then I don't care what you do. Either you create an image, you see something, or you feel something, or you just use all the senses to actually trigger emotions as well. So the more there are senses and emotions, the more hooks a certain memory will have. And here we are doing that artificially in a way. We're trying to gear up your image with as much hooks as possible.
Probably, now I remember the famous savant, which he can remember, like, not just the numbers but dates and also information. He was on Letterman a few years, maybe decades ago. I don't know his name, but he's a normal autist. I mean, he's functional autist, but he has this how is it called?
Synesthesia.
How is this related to synesthesia? What is the word?
Synesthesia is in Slovenian. In English, probably synesthesis, something. I'm not sure. So it's that's a thing where one input triggers a different sensory response as well. So people could hear colors, or they could, I don't know, sense numbers, or
yes, he explained. He sees numbers as you outlined in the shapes, in different modes and in different characters and so on.
So it's, in this case, memorization is a side effect of way of thought, right? But the same things happens in the memory palace as well. We learn how to think differently, and the side so the consequence is we memorize better. There are different people with different extraordinary memory abilities that they are born with. One is highly superior autobiographical memory, which is the ability to remember your past almost actually by dates. So what happened day by day. And sometimes people have, that's an issue for them. It's more, it could be a problem because it's hard to hold in mind everything that happened.
For some people, it's like a second nature. They're already born with it. My wife just told me, like a while ago, she works with kids, and there is one kid that in his, I don't know with which grade, but in the first triad, he memorizes everything what you put, like an AI, and he's smarter he is probably than a history teacher. And he just, history teacher asks him about the information, and he's like 10 or I don't know how, it's, maybe for him is a second nature. For us it's, whoa, what can you do?
One of the instances of a memory savant is also a patient, Sharevsky, so Solomon Sharevsky from Russia. He was one of the first recorded memory savants, and then the researcher studying him, Luria, realized it's actually, again, a consequence of his synesthesia, so his ability to really connect senses in an unusual way. But that also became his burden. But he could remember almost everything. He heard it, he remembered it. Because his response was so vivid in his mind. But that was also a problem for everyday functioning, If everything someone says triggers like a firework of things in your mind, it can be hard to then pay attention all the time. But for memory, that's great. What I like to get out of these extraordinary people is, okay, just take what's most useful here. So it's the ability to create interesting combinations of feelings, senses in your mind to remember.
What drives you here actually with that pi number? Why pi, and why did you, you just personal interest?
So pi is just a very nice test because it's an irrational number. It has no logical order, and it's good. It's a really feat of imagination and concentration. Those two things are at play here.
How long does it take you to?
About 3 hours to get to 11,000 digits, maybe 2 hours and a half.
What's the record?
I think world record is around 60,000-70,000.
Could you get there?
Yeah.
I mean,
again, if you give me a year and...
but you could. You see yourself. That's my point. Do you?
I believe I could, but at this moment I don't feel the need or desire to try, because it's a really, that would be a would be an ultra marathon for me, right? Now I'm running like let's say like marathons, maybe small marathons, but to go to an ultra marathon, it's a different game.
It would take a chunk of your life just to focus on that.
Yeah. But what drives me here is just the training of the mental techniques. I believe we underestimate, we talk a lot about body technique, working out, proper, I don't know, walking, posture and stuff. But the same thing applies to our mental techniques. We can use them for efficiency, but we can also use them for emotional work, relieving stress, well-being, mindfulness, etc. It's all mental training in a way. And I would like to live in a world where we train our minds more as well.
How do you see? That's an interesting point you're making, because now when AIs, entered our lives in a much, let's say, broader and impactful sense, how do you see this in the future? What will happen? Because with the technology now, you can actually don't need to forget, don't need to remember certain things, and you don't need to.
Yeah, but that's an illusion. We always forget. We think the function of our memory is to keep the past, but it's not. It's actually the function of our memory is to help us live in the present and to think about the future. And we will always remember things that are interesting, important, or somehow beneficial for us. A lot of the times in life, we are asked to remember things that actually we have no relation with, right? In school, you do that. You prove that you are capable of dealing with substances that are maybe not even of your interest, or you can learn to think abstract, and that's great. But you forget a lot of those things. But what you didn't forget is your confidence and your way you learn how to work with yourself. You learn how to push through challenges, mental challenges, etc. But your creativity always arises from yourself, from your memory. A model will not be creative as you can be because it does not have your special mix of things.
Your personal thing, isn't it?
And I believe that a creative thought is an unexpected combination of two things that were not before combined. And that's hard to replicate. Proper creativity. You can replicate models of creativity, but you will never, I am sure, have AI create a painting. You will maybe have an artist create a painting with AI.
Wait. This is interesting that we are now discussing. So the AI can create a painting, but how does he do that, or she? From references. So from the bag of information that it has. So what you're saying is that it will not be able to make a original kind of painting from that was never made.
Yeah, because art is inevitably tied with human experience, and models do not have human experiences. They have information, and maybe they will get more and more information. They will be able to see the world, have much more bigger chunks of information than we can even handle. But that's not human experience. And I believe that in art, actually, what is considered as an artwork breaks the rules in a wrong, delivers a wrong answer that is at that moment the most possible correct and excellent answer that resonates the most with either the moment that is or actually something that is more universal. And AI can generate a picture like Van Gogh would paint it, but yeah, so what? Who cares? But I believe that artists will be able to create maybe art with AI. And
that's another way to but that's another way how to use the AI. But we are now talking. So the question would be, where does creativity or creative thoughts arise from? You know, that's probably here the fundamental question, or one of them. In the case of a human, where does our creative from the mixture of life, but not as a do you sense where I'm going with it?
I have no idea, but what I think about is, first, it's the need to express oneself, which is a basic human need. And words sometimes cannot, we have to express and communicate how it's like to be human. And we do that through a lot of channels. And that is the purpose, one of the purposes for me of art, is expression of the human experience, sharing it with others, right? And so would you be interested in a book that you know AI has written? I don't know. I don't think I would be. If it's or a poem. I'm not sure if I would even consider, like, yeah, okay, so what?
The question is, would you be interested in art produced by AI? You're telling me that, maybe not. The music, let's say.
Well, I believe it's always a question of who was the initiator. You know, I like to go to concerts because I hear the music and it's done at that moment. I also like to listen to music, but for me, the nicest experience is listening live.
Yeah.
And maybe I would also listen to music live that is done, that robots play, but I'm not sure. Right now, I think I would not. But maybe we find ways that we are able to express ourselves with those robots, but is there really any point in that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But one, this probably a lot of people can refer to when being live with something, you know. But when you're not live in a concert, when you listen to Beethoven, you know, would you sense, that's a question, would you sense a difference, you know, between a piece of music done with AI or...
Yeah, I'm not sure, but the question, I mean...
Would you be interested, or what was... Yeah.
I think for this kind of mindless consumption, these AI creations will be okay, but for really listening or perceiving art, I doubt it. I see no sense in it, really. But we'll see. Things can change. I don't know how it will play out. I think we always find ways to incorporate technology into art and to express ourselves. And that does not mean that AI writes a book, writes a song, whatever. But maybe I use it as a tool.
As we do already now. I see it the same way for now. It helps me to do faster to come to results and easier. I don't need to spend so much with the tasks that I don't want to, and that's a helpful thing. Otherwise, in the future we'll see what happens. Maybe should we end this game if we want? It's still another one. Do you have for me? Maybe another one. I have 3 of yours.
One more.
Let's do, and let's finish this game first. Let's see what happens.
You were building a model of the Eiffel Tower for 3 years.
And actually this is the one. It's a interesting story behind that, because I was very young and I started. Maybe I can show it like this, that it will give a sense of it. It's like a small scale model of Eiffel Tower, 1 to 300 something scale. But the point is that I started this when I was very young, and you see there are a lot of holes in it, you know. What happened is that I started with a bow saw, you know, with a bow saw to cut the holes out, and it went like for ages because there are a lot of holes, and I started very slowly. I was like, I don't know, 12 or something, and then I get like bored, you know. I mean, it took me like a year to cut few pieces because I went with the old school tools. And that's another reference maybe to AI. Nowadays we have CNC machines, you know, and but it's not so much fun. Another. Here we have a story now.
Yeah.
If you just put it in the CSC, you have another story, which is fine, but it's not the same. So here I went with the hand saw, and it started to be like too much for me, and I dumped the project. But that's a thing with me. I don't dump projects. I don't like to put them, you know, away. I maybe put them in a shelf or you know, but I want to finish them. It's not the end until I do it till the end. And it happened with that case that after a few years, I said, no, I have to finish it. And maybe 1 year passed or something, and then I figured, no, I have to speed the process up. And I built a saw with another saw. So I turned it over and so on, and I put a small blade in it, just to be able to cut those small holes out. So then I, you know, sped up the process, and I was able to then, you know, actually make this in a few months, and I was really pleased with it to end the process. But the funny thing is that I then at the end did these ones. I cut those out, you know, and I was very young, also unskilled on the table saw.
Okay.
And what happened is that just close to the end, I wanted to cut these bases out, which are on the angle. And I used big, which we had at home, because as I said earlier, I come from carpenters, you know, we have a big shop there at home, and we have a table saw, which is very big, very dangerous, and it's not as nowadays are, you know, with the safety procedures and so on. It's a plain saw, table saw, really high revolutions and really big, heavy stuff. And I wanted to cut this small base out of the wood. And what happened is that I couldn't hold this small cubicle in my hands, so I moved around the table. And another golden rule in the cutting:
don't stand behind.
Don't stand behind, and don't do. You know, you have a rail like a fence, you know, which you drive the wood by. And then I did inclined the saw, but I shouldn't have the fence when I inclined the saw, because if you can imagine, if you drive the piece here in, if it gets jammed, you know, it gets stuck.
Yeah.
And this happened. I moved around and I tried to slide it between the inclined saw and the fence, and it jammed. And this piece became a projectile.
Oh yeah.
So this piece, one of those, became a projectile, and the saw jammed it and threw it in my chest.
Oh.
And I injured myself badly. But luckily I was standing on the other side, because it would probably hit my face like this on that side. And I was like this. It didn't puncture my lungs or something, but every color you can go through. I was injured here in the chest. Okay, I made it through, but this was a big lesson how you should not speed up the process and take a safety procedures. No, so this was the story with that, the ending of that 3 years process, which almost took me, you know, left me with a big injury, but luckily I healed. But it was not a big thing later. But it's now a story like this. So, but I made. I'm happy that I made it, because it's a finished project. So that's the story behind that cutting, building Eiffel Tower model adventure.
Yeah, and it was. Where did I mention it before?
With Eiffel.
The presentation.
Where the presentation, which
so it's a nice finale or sum up.
Yeah,
Nice. No, it's really a nice model.
yeah. This is it. Yeah. This is we probably finished the game.
Okay.
Venture adventure, which is
Nice.
nice. So what we did is this AI put together. I prompted AI to come up with extraordinary feats or interesting adventures of you and me. And yeah, this was the list of it, and now we come to the end of this. But there are so many. I mean, I could probably ask you a lot of your feats, and
I hope I will do more of them, but in due time.
Yeah, for sure you will, because I see that this is in your nature, and this is who you are. You know, AI will not substitute you as a person.
Yeah, I think so. I'm at the moment. I'm not pessimistic. It's always a question of who are the people that have the technology and the development of the technology in hands, and what are their values and what are our values. And I think should be our focus. We could always use technology for better and better purposes, not for worse and worse purposes. But that's not the technology to blame. It's the people that develop and use it or manipulate it in whichever way.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, maybe slowly we can wrap and end this our sharing on this topic. That let's stay open to new creative ideas and use technology to the best of our abilities as a helpful tool.
Or decide when we use it and when we don't, right? Set boundaries. I notice a lot of the times I'm too hooked to social media, let's say, and then I want to set boundaries and see, okay, can I stick to them? Or I'm really thinking of going on a dumb phone experiment for some time to see what my what is under my control and what is not. And I don't want technology to run my life. I want it to help me, but those things can get quickly tangled.
Yeah. Especially nowadays also with kids and so on, because they grow up with it from the start. Yeah. Here I can say just I'm grateful that you came.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. And
it was really nice experience, and we shared a lot of interesting stories.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Let's end on that note.
Okay.
Thank you, Nik.
Thank you
for being here.
For the talk. Thank you for anyone who listened or watched. Right?
Yeah. For anyone who.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.